I think. Okay. I welcome you all for today's educational session with Energy. For those friends who are joining us for the first time, let me share what Energy is all about. Energy is a non-profit organization that engages in and promotes various initiatives that are striving for social change, honing leadership skills, and building entrepreneurship capabilities in the Northeast, including Assam. For the past few months, we have been engaging with speakers from Northeast through various fields via virtual media to create a network among the people working in this region. So today we have with us a very dynamic and feisty personality, a lawyer who's busy breaking stereotypes, true to her principles and ethics, Ms. Satrupa Bhattacharjee. She is the founder of Jharna Foundation, an organization formed to create an inclusive society for the underprivileged special children. As I believe that every child we encounter is the divine light in himself, care should be taken to bring them up in the society with all the rights and responsibilities. Children born with special abilities have special needs. So Jharna Foundation is doing just that, and we all are honored to have the founder herself with us today. I welcome you, Satrupa, in our Energy session today. This is going to be a very informative session, and I believe that all our audiences are going to enjoy this session with us. So I hand it over to you. You can say hello to everyone, Satrupa.
A very good evening, and thank you so much for a wonderful introduction. I'm glad to be a part of this session, and I hope I'll be able to contribute or at least be of some help to our viewers and whoever is taking part today. And I'm really glad to be a part. So, I mean, it's a good thing that we're having a dialogue on something which is very important, especially during this kind of a situation which we all are going through, the pandemic. And I think it's one of the very relevant topics. So I hope I'll be able to answer to the queries whoever is having one, and I'm just glad to be a part of your initiative.
We are very glad to have you here. In fact, we are honored to have you here. As a lawyer, I have known that you have been very like path-breaking kind of a lady. So I would like to know how you started this. What motivated you to form Jharna Foundation? How did you come into this? You are into human rights. So what touched you that you came for special children? Yeah.
See, I'll really honest. Jharna is in my late mother's name. Jharna is my mother's name. She has been someone who has actively been involved. I've seen her socially, culturally. She's been very actively involved. That is one part of it. And the other was in my school. I come from Loreto, conventional law. So we do a lot of charity. And in fact, when it comes to special needs, that was my first exposure actually. I mean, I was exposed to something like that situation where children were, it was so heartwarming, and the warmth which I felt when we connected. And we were in school that time, we were studying, and that I never knew I would be able to do, but I always wanted to do. But then, well, things happened, and I come from a biotech, I come from an absolute science and research oriented field, shifted to law, something I wanted to do. And then this happens when I was practicing. I just couldn't do a 9 to 5 job, or I just couldn't be as, I felt something very, like I said, it was always in the back of my mind. So when I chose to start the foundation, before that, I was working in an individual capacity as a human rights lawyer. And well, there were challenges, of course, coming from our seniors and all, like, because again, we have this preconceived notion when you're already, you're a lawyer. Why do you want, at least in Northeast, you're not exposed to the culture of, social aspect of it, or doing any kind of social work, being a lawyer. So it was a hell lot of a challenge, because you have your colleagues and all saying, okay, why do you want to leave out your practice and start something? Ye NGO wala fanda. What is that? But I strongly believed in something, and that is how it actually made me start as an initiative. Jharna Foundation came about it. And well, then it's just,
Okay.
we have a long way to go. So one step at a
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, that's what I believe. So, did you encounter these kids somewhere that you felt for them? That's how you came into advocacy for them, or you had already decided that you want to be there for, I mean, just focus on this area,
No,
advocacy
see,
for, yeah,
when it comes to Jharna Foundation, we have a very, very broad, selective, but certain amount of broadness when it comes to the aspect we want to work in, or we have been working in. And when it comes to special nature, or how you put it, is that like I told you, I came across when I was in school. So I always felt that compassion and that connection. More so, I felt that when you even in any capacity, when you reach out to them, there's always a warmth. It is, I received that, and I always wanted to work for that. So that was one part of it. I always knew. I didn't know how to go about it. I was not sure what would I want to do, or because I don't come from the technical background. I'm not a special needs educator. I'm not.
mm,
So
okay.
for me, I don't know how to go
So,
about it, but I know I would want to work like advocacy, yes, bring about awareness, and more so be acceptable and break that taboo which comes unfortunately with our society. There's a big taboo which comes with it. So this is
yeah.
something we want. I personally work in breaking that, so that everyone is same. We don't need to discriminate and differentiate. It's just that we need to behave or reach out to people in a different way. That's about it. So that is how I felt about it.
Okay, so from where do you start? You start with the, I mean, the parents are the people that you reach out to. How do you
No, we
start?
see, as Jharna Foundation, we've always worked when it comes to children rights. We have made it that we would work as in, like, because our whole vision is for inclusivity. We have gone through. See, when you talk about parents, not many parents are comfortable to directly come in contact or be open about it. Of course,
Yeah.
there's a lot of awareness. We do have our state nodal officers and all, and which has been working. But having said that, being on paper and law is a total different thing. Implementation is a vast difference. There's a bridge. There's a huge, huge gap which needs to be bridged. So when I was going through and I wanted to do something like that, I interacting with the district administration, because when you interacting with district administration, say I'm working in West Khasi Hills a lot. So when we work with district administration, say in a block development officer, what they do is they facilitate. So when an official goes about it, if not anything, they feel that, okay, when an officer, because in rural areas I'm talking about, see, when we talk about privileged people, there's a lot of still awareness. Acceptability is a different thing. Awareness is there. Accessibility is a total different thing. Acceptability. And yes, they can facilitate, say, personal trainers. But when I'm talking about underprivileged, especially not even underprivileged, sometimes rural, they have the capacity. But again, the thought process needs, that chain needs to be broken, and that gap needs to be bridged. So that was a difficult situation, and still is, because unfortunately, a lot of rural areas, people still think it as something as a curse.
Yes.
When
Yeah, that's why
parents,
the family and everyone in the family goes through that if a child is a special child out in the family. Yeah.
yes, and especially when they are healthy and they have other children who are healthy, for them accepting the reality is itself a big taboo. They are absolutely in denial. So when we facilitated, a lot of times people were open to it. Parents, they at least came in to say, okay, what are they trying to say? I mean, so they were a bit skeptical, a hell lot of skepticism. But yes, and some of them were totally and still are in denial. So that is something we're still working on, because getting to
So
them and
yeah. So
bringing about.
what is the role that your foundation plays? Providing them services.
No, we handhold. See, our organization is not something which is like looking into the, uh, like taking up, say, projects as per now, but we have always handhold with other organizations, be it in a self-help groups. That's how, because I was having a conversation before with you. I have worked with distress meditation more. And from true district administration, we've tied up with previously, we've tied up with self-help groups to bring about the parents forefront to give at least a basic awareness that A, you have to accept that as a reality. You are not cursed, and this is a disease. You need to, accept it the way it's a medical condition. It's
Yeah,
not a
it's a
curse.
genetic disorder. Yeah, there's a genetic disorder somewhere.
Not always, but yes,
Okay.
in certain cases, yes. And so it's not something which is untouchable, nothing to be ashamed of, and you can still make your child still feel, not dependent. Of course, there are degrees of disability, like say cerebral palsy. There's one form of, when we talk about disability, there are various kinds. So we don't
Yes.
come up with technical this thing like I told you, and as our organization, but we coordinate. Suppose it could be a district administration's health officer or a special educator we connect to, or a counselor for that matter, which we collaborate and bring about a CBA tie-up and do awareness programs or advocacy, or we just bring in a basic accessibility so that they know that they can reach us,
Okay.
in whatever capacity. So we connect that also. So we do that. We form
So that is,
basically a bridge between
yeah.
the government and other NGOs
Yeah.
with
So
also
you have a
public.
support system under your umbrella. You have a support system where the parents can approach you, or the children. It's like that.
Yes, if they feel so, yes, they have our, and we can connect to the relevant, because we have, see, even district levels, sometimes they are not aware. They don't know how to go about it or where they can. So if we know, suppose in IGNU, they have a course, someone wants to go for, say, vocational trainings. So we know, so we can connect them so they can get that. So we from that bridge, we from that connection. It's not that I
Okay.
particularly or my organization, but we handle the training. Till now, we
Yeah.
have not, but we connect them. We connect to the relevant
Okay.
stakeholders or say agency, so that they don't have, sometimes they don't know where to go about or how to go about it. So we help in doing
Right.
that. We're
Right. Right.
facilitators.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. You're facilitators. So the people out there, I mean, the local authorities and the district authorities, they know, are they aware of the facilities that are around, like schools and vocational training centers for these children?
Yeah, see, they are. In fact, our Meghalaya in Shillong, Karmo has been doing a very great job, and he has been awarded a President Award for that, for his work in the field of disability, for trying to integrate and, with vocational trainings and all. But see, there are a lot of implementation. There are nodal officers, like I told you. But the officials know. But again, see, written on paper and implementation is a total different thing.
That's what
And
I'm
when we
asking. Yeah. How do
Yes,
you
so when we
implement
talk
this? Yeah.
about rural sometimes, especially, okay, then it is a bit of a task because they don't know how to go about it. So we have started, but then there's a long way to go. We need more. And sometimes even the district administrations are not welcomed. They totally shut down. And the thing is that we cannot put them at gunpoint and tell them, no, you have to do this. Because again, it's just a choice as an Indian constitution, which gives us a right, but it also cannot make us force someone to acknowledge something and go about it. So I think to break down, and that is a big challenge. If you are to say, what is the biggest
Okay.
challenge or hurdle,
Challenge.
is breaking the stereotypical mindset or reaching out to even parents to allow
Mhm.
or bring forth their children. Most of the time, you'll see they just lock their children,
Yeah.
you know,
Most of the time
and
in rural areas, we have seen that. Yes.
yes. So for them to open up or even acknowledge, they don't even get the basic rights of, say, getting an epic done, because they feel that
So
no.
is there any law? Is there any law for these children? You can take legal action if somebody wants for them.
See, if no, as on human rights basis, yes, you can, because if they are tortured, we can, obviously, but we cannot, by law, we cannot force a parent to take an initiative. But yes, we can put under, see, juvenile law is there, where that negligence for any kind of child, irrespective of special or otherwise, negligence, and social welfare committees are there, child welfare committees are there, which we can look into. Uh, and then we have the policies, national policies there, which looks after these. But at the same time, if it's on a negligent basis, yes, as an organization, we can, but also we cannot put, like I said, at a gunpoint. But if they're tortured, it's an absolute violation of human rights. And as a child rights, it's a violation. That is something we can take an action. We can file a legal PIL, we can go about. That's the legality of it, if you are to say. But sometimes legality doesn't work because, again, how do you break? See, we have the best of laws till now, but implementation is a process, and it is a challenge. Even when it comes to judiciary, to a certain extent, they can enforce, but they cannot make it mandatory at a gunpoint until unless a human right, I mean, a basic child right is violated. It's only then we can make it a mandatory thing. Other than that, the best way to approach is in a holistic way so that we can break down those barriers, create an awareness that it's not a disease, and you're also getting, as a parent, also you're getting the beneficiary. There's a lot of schemes. You've seen everywhere in India, we have schemes also. We have this
parents are trained accordingly how to deal with the child. Yes.
Not only that, you have those cards. You have they have those cards where you, as a disabled person or a child, you have those cards where you get certain beneficiaries. But for them to go through the procedure, unfortunately, we still have a bureaucratic procedure. We need to fill up forms. We need to go through the whole entire process. But if a person, suppose, giving an example, if my child is that and I'm not agreeing to it, even if there are schemes, it will be infructuous. It will not be making any effect, because if I don't allow to go through that process, or I'm not filing the relevant things, and as a government or as an NGO, you cannot force. Yes, if I am beating up my child, or like I said, I'm locking down and not giving him the basic things which are necessary for a child to live, say it could be the basic necessities or the basic facilities, then as an NGO or as an individual also I can file up a PIL because a child's human rights are violated. But besides that, if they are not welcoming to a scheme, I cannot force them, or as a government also can't do that. So that is something.
So the parents' role, parents should be their own child's. For their children, they have to become their own advocates. Like that's where advocacy comes into it.
See, advocacy is something which we or any individual can go about, an organization, or we can tie with governments to go ahead. But I will not say for a parent to be an advocate. Yes, to be a motivator and someone who needs to stand up and realize that their child needs to be independent, because till the time they're alive, it's fine. But after that, what is the role?
Yeah. So he should be included in the society. So an inclusive society, that's what the foundation that you are handling is working on. So how to make them.
We are trying. We have a long way to go, long way to go. But yes, that is one of our core vision of trying to create an inclusive where you're not discriminated. A child, irrespective of anything, is not discriminated and feels. See, inclusivity and integration are two different things.
Yes,
when we talk about integration,
social inclusion and social integration. Yeah, that's how do we go about it?
Yes, see, integration is something where you're making, see, we are having our policies now, like education policies, when we're talking about children especially. So NEP has come up now. They have mandatory given terms like inclusion, disability, and so many other terms they have. They have used all those jargons, but in a practical issue, it forms a lot of challenges. So, and it's in a very confusing state as of now, because integration and like I said, inclusion are two different things. Inclusion is something when you're making the person feel included because you're developing a curriculum, when you're talking about education, or say a scheme, even a scheme which is a particular addressing the certain problem areas or the challenges we are facing. When you talk about integration, that means we're integrating them into the already existing policy. So we're asking them basically to adjust. And that becomes, again, very, very streamlined. Because not everyone can be adjusting or can be streamlined into integration. It is not possible. Practically, it is not. I mean, if someone says it is like a far-fetched thought. when we talk about inclusion, it is because then you are not only looking at the whole way, but you're also looking at individualizing the certain areas so that they feel included and not integrated. So I think first and foremost, we have to be very clear about the terms integration and inclusion when we are trying to create an advocacy, or even we want to comment on a policy, or we want to work on a policy which has already developed. And these terms are very important. Otherwise, like I said, it is like it leaves us and leaves the parents and others also in a very confused state. And are we trying to integrate them? Is integration and inclusion the same thing? So I think the concept needs to be very, very clear and put out there in black and white. I think that's very important when we try to say that we want to include and create an inclusive society.
Okay. Okay. So, what about the medical issues and those things also you all take up, like behavioral issues for the
Oh,
special?
no. See, like I told you, as an organization, we don't look into that directly, but we would facilitate that. If someone needs that and contact us, we are always happy to help. And that is our whole purpose has been, because as an individual capacity of an organization, we are not able, because we don't want to be like spread over everything and not being able to do anything, so we would rather facilitate. Suppose if today a person comes and says that we need something related to health and we need to be connected, so we'll facilitate with the relevant stakeholders, or say medical officers or organizations we are looking into, who are looking into basically health factor also. We would facilitate that.
And that's what I was thinking about this. What happens when like if you have recommended a family to some place where they can go and have their child for further education or some. So, like they have quite peculiar, I mean, a unique kind of behavioral pattern, and those things are with the children. It happens somewhere. So, what about these misconducts? If there's something, then does that come back to you, or I mean, your foundation is looking after those things also?
No, the thing is, there has been, this is something I cannot take the name without that, but the issues, yes, I can discuss. There have been, we have, as an advocate, as a lawyer, myself and the foundation which we work for, we have been asked to rather join in and facilitate the dialogue, because like the kind of sometimes happens. So, and there have been cases where, without taking names, there have been where especially child has been sexually abused by someone who's supposed to be a facilitator. So we come in and then we look into that. And if any legalities has to be done, we have done that, because we also do that. And coming from a lawyer's, I mean, as a human right lawyer, for me, that is very prerogative that we do that. At an capacity through our foundation, yes. So they have issues, yes, sometimes they have been, or sometimes there have been miscommunication with the parents, or these are the issues which are relevant, which will come up. These are nothing compared to the actual challenges. It's more saddening when something like sexual abuse happens, or a child undergoes through something, especially if it's a facilitator or an organization which they are supposed to have, say, a vocational training or something, and one of the teacher, or it could be a chowkidar or someone, has misconducted or come up to something, then yes, we have facilitated that, and we have taken criminal actions. We have taken up legal matters regarding that. We have.
So yeah, and how do you cope up with these things in daily life? Like I know, because it's been stressful for everyone right now. The pandemic is going on, so you must be getting, um, uh, I mean, calls from children or parents who need support in this time. So how are you going to cope up with these times right now?
As of now, we have somehow we have not, but then we have there have been some issues where they've approached and they wanted to be connected to say a child line, because sometimes there have been hostile children, or there have been children who have run away from their designated homes. They have away from designated homes. So, and we had to find out, because I was at the individual capacity, I had been a part of NCPCR when as a rapporteur. So we have evaluated also. So we have seen those challenges happen. But yes, as of during the pandemic, we have not faced, we as an organization, we have not faced that. But as a human rights lawyer, at a personal level, yes, they have approached because they have known. So, I mean, the legality of it, that as a lawyer, how do we go about it? How do we face if a case has to be fined or it has to be forwarded to a juvenile board? Because what we have seen or I have seen is that sometimes children run away from children homes. So that has become an issue because either they were not happy or they someone just scolded them or an abuse case. So that is something which is happening. And I think in pandemic, one of the core issues which children face is especially children who are of abuse. That makes it a bit of a challenge to connect. How do they go about it?
Yeah.
Within a break we had done, because when since we were happening, we had done as an organization, we had done 2 programs with the children, school children. So we had seen a lot of issues when it comes to children, and that abuse, and they need a hell lot of counseling. Counseling was a very integral part, and there were children who had siblings who were special needs, but they didn't know how to handle or the abuse they were facing in, so we did provide them with counseling, and we were looking into it, and then the pandemic again, we had to shut down everything, and they didn't want to approach us because they felt that so this, I think it plays a lot of, because most of them, they don't have, we talk about accessibility. Yes, they have our numbers and all, but then most of the children, especially coming from underprivileged, they don't even have an access to phone. So that becomes a
Very true.
difficult for a
Very
child.
true. For the
Yes.
underprivileged, yeah, all the services, the therapists and everything, they are out of reach. So that's what I think. Like people like you are there to reach to them. It's like this awareness should be spread around. So you have your interns who are doing with you, volunteers who are doing this work with you.
We're all working remotely as 1 year during the pandemic. We have had our interns, and we have just recently, in fact, today we'll be having an induction. Is that all are working from remote areas. So we have from all over, and they are all virtually connected because we can't have into one, and I cannot put them at risk. And they're all, that's why we've started with an online internship, but we have gone on ahead. We talk about advocacy and awareness. We are running, and we have been running, if you check out our posts, we have done a lot of online campaigns. We are
Okay.
going. So listen
What
now,
what do you look?
for the role
What are you looking
today,
in? I mean, how do you select these volunteers, or what do you look for in the
no,
employees that?
we just want youth. See, we want all youth. Our part of our organizations, one of the vision is also to mobilize youth and give them a platform. I think youth today have so much of potential. Like, they just need to be given that platform. They need to have the right information. I think that is one of the core integral part of any youth mobilization or any organization which is actively involved with youth. I think it's very important to have correct information, because today, in an area with a click of a button, when we have an access to all kind of information, which is the right kind of information, and how the youth needs to have an accessibility to the right kind of information is important, and also for them to actually voice their opinions, to be mobilizing and actively involved. See, we have done campaigns on mental health. We have involved our interns. They have come out with beautiful songs, and it was all our interns, our intern coordinators' ideas. So as an organization, I felt personally, and that is how I wanted to work. When you talk about the work ethics and actually coming about interns, it was first like people came to know who has worked with us. They went back and they went and spoke, or the things they have seen, how we evaluate and how we went about with our organization. The departments is basically the universities who have connected with us, and then suppose if a particular intern has joined us, they preferred working with us, they went ahead and then they told their friends, and that's how we came about our interns. In fact, it was my intern coordinators suggestion. Actually, she came up with the idea, and she's a very young, dynamic girl. She said,
Okay.
"Ma'am, all the interns who have left, they still want to be a part." And I felt so happy about it, because I think ours, I don't know, I'm not aware of other organizations, but our organization is the only one which is having an alumni group. It's usually is a college or universities which have.
Yeah.
We as an organization, we have an alumni group where our past interns or volunteers have joined back in, because they always wanted to be connected to us in whatever capacity they can. So that speaks for itself, right? So I think
Yeah.
youth mobilization is very important, and giving them, and I think my foundation is working, whatever way it is working, it's because these actively young people are so dynamic. I mean, an organization is nothing without a very, very active volunteers or team. I think every organization is what because they are of the team. And I'm glad and I'm really, really humbled to see each one of my team members being so actively involved and taking pride and actually actively, brainstorming for ideas. So I would give my team the whole credit. My vision is something which I have created the foundation, but I think it's working because of the team, young people who are so actively involved, in bringing about. I think that plays a very, very important role
Yeah,
as a
maybe
team.
because these sentiments are relatable that you're going through, and the way you have brought this foundation up, so they relate to the cause that you're working for. So the skills that you look into for them, I mean, they should have patience, they should be flexible, they should be. I mean, when you deal with emotional parents or a child, a special child, then what are the things that they should go through? I mean, what would like I mean you should how they should handle things when they
The
are.
interns as of now, they are not. Like I said, we always facilitate with someone who's very professional. We don't take that chance because we don't come from that background.
Okay. Okay.
Because I think,
Yeah.
sorry,
It's a,
see, we don't come from that background. We facilitate. So
Mhm.
we cannot take the risk of exposing a child
Yeah.
who's vulnerable to someone who's not experienced.
Okay.
So we don't. But
Okay.
yes, regarding anything else like facilitating with an organization or thing, that is our role, like I've said, and I'm reiterating it. But we leave it to the professionals because I don't come from that, and it would be very wrong on me to take up a responsibility which I don't come with capable thing. Yes, when it comes to legalities of it, like I had told you already, I can take a call on that because I come from that background. I've worked with human rights issues. But when an emotional child or something like that comes up, it is best left to a counselor or someone who's professional, and that is how we mitigate and we facilitate. Because this is not something we as an individual, we don't come from that speciality. We
Okay.
don't. Or
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
facilitate.
Mhm. So you have your own network where you can divert these parents and children. It's like that. So
Yeah,
your employees are working with you, and yeah, it's the team effort that goes into making the whole group work. Yeah.
and like you said, when you talk facilitating also, it is how you build up. I think every network or every NGO, especially
Yeah.
working in social platform or a social cause, I think creating a network of related or NGOs is a support system in simple words. It is very important. Today, if someone calls me for domestic violence and say that, I need to get connected to something, I can facilitate. Or someone, or from my thing, if I need, say, like you said, when a child comes in, it could be a special need child, it could be otherwise also. I need to facilitate, or to children home. I can call up and just find out. So that I think creating a support system is very important. And that is where we come in. See, our role, it's very important for everyone to understand as an organization, don't, we have not run projects. Okay. We have not running projects as of now. We are facilitators. We facilitate, we have, and we connect, and we create a system of support system. So that I think that is very important.
Yes,
So that is very
you also have, yeah, sorry to disturb. You also have some for women also, no? You are facilitating for women.
yes, for women, children, and youth. And well, there are a lot of other things in our pipeline which we're planning to. And one thing would be also to facilitate livelihood, be it for women, especially like women who has gone through abuse, who has gone through. In Meghalaya, we face a lot of abandonment. Women, single moms. I think economically, we need to create some kind of a sustainable source of income for them. And that is by creating livelihood. And that is something we are looking into. And, we have a lot of things pipelined in the future. It's too early to talk about, but yeah, is something we are looking into. Like personally, as an organization looking into, previously we have facilitated that, but now there have been some kind of sometimes mishaps or miscommunication. So that is why personally we are looking.
Hello. I suppose her network connection has been lost. Um, hello, Satrupa, you there?
Hello.
Satrupa. Yeah.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you're not visible, but
Yeah. I can see myself, but I can't. Am I visible and audible?
you're audible. Yes, you are audible. Unlike we are facing some network issues.
Yeah, I think because it was going up. I think. Am I visible and audible now?
You're audible but not visible.
Okay. I think there's some network issues happening.
Okay. Yeah, so these are the things that it's really nice to hear, but yeah, I wanted to ask you about, yeah, you're not visible, but you can hear me. Yeah, now you're there.
Yeah.
Now it's
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. The network has been a real pain.
no, this issue has been going on for some time. No worries, we'll continue with our discussion. Yeah, so that's how you have been dealing with the issues with special children and women. So you have got so many projects in the pipeline now. So
No, we are. It's too early to talk. I don't want to talk about it, but yeah, we are hoping for some.
so another sessions we'll be needing with you again to come out and talk further. Further on these things. And one more thing I would like to know about how, in your personal life, how do you feel as a parent, since you're working with the children and you're trying to bring sources for them. So, what is that you see as a parent? A normal suggestion from you, either.
I'm sorry, I'm breaking, but I'm not a parent yet. I'm not married, so I mean, marital status doesn't concern. So
The status doesn't concern, but then I just want, because you have seen.
You said as a parent, I'm not a parent yet, but I would like to consider myself as a parent to all my interns, all my I would like to consider that, but no, I'm still not a parent. I'm not still not married, so well, that's out of concern. But when you said as a parent, I wanted to for a person who's working on women rights, I don't think so it makes any impact if you're a parent or not. But yeah, but I would like to consider my interns as my children only. So yeah.
Okay, so what do you think, like being a special child's parent, how is it different to tackle in the society, or what you have seen through, you have gone through with so many people coming to you and then you trying to resource them and give them help and support? So what are the things that go through their mind? Maybe they talk to you, or you must have come with a case or something like that. You can share some experience.
Our cultural touch that it is always a taboo, and then there are people who, and especially women, mothers, who feel that enough is enough, we need to, like, they are coming out of that shell, and now they're realizing that we cannot, because till the time they are there, they realize that okay, children can, we are looking after the children, but after that, what do we do? So there is slightly being a paradigm shift of mindset. It's still a process. A lot of them have happened. And then there are coming, like I said, when you talk about feisty women, they are coming up. As a parent, they feel enough. Even when their society or their, say, village is ostracizing them, they are having a cut. And I think it takes a lot of courage when, and that is what we're seeing. So it is also encouraging. Yes, we also have a challenges where convincing a parent to accept and at least apply certain kind of schemes becomes difficult. But then there is also other side of it, without the negativity part of it, they are realizing slowly, and they want to break that, glass ceiling of perfectionism, and that everything is perfect, so they are. And I think dialogue helps a lot. Dialogue, when they come across people who are ready to hear and understand, it's very easy for us to say, okay, you need to do this, but we also have to understand. And that is something I have understood, like as a facilitator, as working in the field, one-to-one interaction, is that sometimes they just want to be heard. I think for us, people who are working in the field, we need to have that patient ear. Instead of telling them to do, you need to do this, you need to do that, we need to have a very, very patient and understanding and compassion for them to come to terms with, for them to be heard, to understand from their perspective the challenges. I think that is also very important. Like we say, when we talk about advocacy, we always see sometimes, because we are so conditioned, we are so conditioned into believing, oh, we are trying to do something good, it needs to be done because this is what is good for them. But we also have to look into and be in their shoes and understand from their perspective the challenges, because each one is having a different challenge.
There must be and economically also, maybe they are coming from a weaker background. Financially, they are not able to.
Yes, financially and economic part is one aspect of it. But most important, I feel, and what are the challenges? Because see, when we come to schemes, we can get them that. We have schemes. We need to work a bit more and push harder. We have to be. We have to keep lobbying. We have to push. Otherwise, how our system works. It is a fact. I mean, we cannot just push it under the rug. Our system needs a push and a pull. We need to do that. But also, I think breaking that barrier of communication or miscommunication, for that matter, with a parent or even a child. Sometimes a parent might want to be, but a child could be very hostile, not because the child is aggressive, but see, again, we also have to have that compassion. I might not be a facilitator, I might not come from a background which is I have that technical expertise of a sign language or something, but as a human rights, or as a basic human, most importantly, forget about as a human rights law, as a layperson also, I need to be compassionate and patient enough to understand that a child must be going through so many kind of his or her own, thought process, or that insecurities or challenges. So I think lending a ear sometimes. So communication, I feel, is the key, most important for anything to happen. And this is something we need to understand. Like I said, sometimes as facilitators, as NGOs, also we become very strong-holded and strong-minded that, oh, we are doing something for good, it's for your benefit. But we also have to understand that they need to build up that trust with me or my organization, or whom I'm mitigating for, or whom I'm facilitating or connecting them to. They need to have that trust or grow that trust with them, a bond, then only they'll be open up to. I think these are minute but very, very integral part. Just making sure that, okay, these are the laws we need to go through, or these are the schemes. I think very, very important is compassion and patience. Otherwise, just trying to push something, especially when it comes to one-to-one interaction or actually getting things done. Yes, teams and all, we need to push and pull to facilitate, because you know how the system is. But when it comes to individuals and patience and understanding and compassion, I think these are the three core values one needs to have to actually relate to. These are very important.
Very nicely said. These are the values and ethics that you take in hand and work accordingly. Yeah. So, what is it that you look forward now for? I mean, for your organization, what are the other things? Like you said, for women, you have been. There are so many projects that you are in line.
No, we are trying. We are looking for, and most importantly, I think for a foundation, which I have realized, especially with during COVID times with our interns, I think one thing I've very strongly felt, and I feel something very happy about also, and it gives me a lot of motivation actually to continue, is that youth. I mean, they have, like I said, again, I'm reiterating so much of potential. So I hope we could go ahead in mobilizing more youth and young dynamic people to come, so that they feel understanding and compassionate towards, and they can voice and actually become policymakers in the near future. How we want to groom them up, mentor them up into a. And secondly, I mean, I don't want to talk about it, it's too early. But when we talk about special education, which I very, very strongly feel I've not been able to give much, is hopefully for, like, we need to walk the talk. I believe that. Of course, it's not possible at immediate point, but I would like to, hopefully, if God's wish and hard work happens, create a school or start something on SEL. That is, in a part of SEL formation. Okay, that is sensitization, education, learning process for both adults and children. So integration, it doesn't happen, but inclusion in its true sense happens. NP is looking into that, but like I said, I think one or two I will not say organization, but corporates are looking into the SL format of education for children. But this is something I want to look into in the near future, not to my foundation, perhaps, but through a social enterprise kind of a thing. That's in the near future, but this is something I want to do, like create a curriculum system which we can involve in actually involving and creating an inclusive for adults, for teachers and students. I think that is something I strongly feel. Hopefully, it's too early, very, very early to say, but this is something I have in
But
mind.
it's a brilliant idea. Yeah, a brilliant idea, and the need of this, the generation that is coming up right now. So maybe that kind of learning and that kind of a school where everyone is involved. So yeah, let's hope that we hope and pray that you get into this.
I hope so. And we need the help of, support system, I think, and capacity building also. Because when we talk, we really need teachers also who are not just doing it, but also feeling the cause. I think that is also very important. So I think we need to create a capacity building system and a training system, like we said, through advocacy. It could be through any kind of involvement, direct involvement of teachers. And that is something as a whole. And with organization like yours, who also works, and I think we need to create that support system and network among
Yeah.
other NGOs.
Yeah. Milanji has always supported people who are into this. That's why this platform that is created. And yeah, we look forward to come together to work for the social changes here and for the benefit of every individual out there. And as you said, that youth is right now, youth is the what do you call, the fire and everything, that fuel that is needed to run the society. So maybe, yeah.
Absolutely. I think we can make a lot of change. I've seen with my campaigns, I mean, I can say it from my own perspective and my interns over this whole 1 year. And so their active involvement and their enthusiasm actually motivates me to keep going. There are times, I'm sure everyone feels that when with looking at the scenarios, you get bogged down with emotions. It's like, okay, are we doing it right? Are we getting it right? But when you see young people so motivated, no, ma'am, you can do it, let's do something. It really motivates you. So like I said, yes, youth needs to be projecting all their positiveness and the brilliant mindset and the capabilities they have in the right way. I think if they do it, we can make a hell lot of a change, a real change in lots
Definitely.
of
That's very nice. We can take some questions if there are. Our audience would like. Can we go ahead, Satrupa, with some
Yes,
questions?
please. Yes.
Yeah. Our audiences would like to go. Yeah.
You have any questions?
You have any questions here?
I can go ahead.
Yeah, Melinda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice to hear you. So are you based in Shillong?
Yes, we are based in Shillong as of now. But I've worked, my first pan-India project was with in Delhi and in IIM, Ahmedabad. We did for children, actually. We did that. But yeah, based in Shillong, but we would like to work at a pan-India level.
So let me make sure that I understand. So you guys do various forums, you make communication happen. Do you guys facilitate those communication? When I look it up, so do you have a school also? I am not very
No,
sure.
no, we don't. No, when Kavita was asking me, I said in a new future project, that is something it's my dream to do that. But as
Okay.
of now, but we are hopefully we would, in the years to come ahead, hopefully we would be able to do that. But no,
Okay.
we don't. But we facilitate. If one needs any kind of, and they approach us, we do that. And we
So
are always
any
that.
so any student can come and say that I need help.
Yes,
Is that
we're always open to help. Please, we are always open to help. And anyone who feels it could be a child right issue, it could be with special needs or anything, we would love to facilitate. We are always there. In whatever
so,
capacity we can, we are there.
so on simple language, like you guys are a group of lawyers or therapists?
No, we are not group of lawyers. Yeah, two of me and one of my founding in my board is a lawyer, and
Okay.
uh, no, we are not therapists, but we connect to them. That's what I was telling when Kavita was telling. I said we don't come from that. That's why we
Okay.
connect them to. We basically form a platform and a bridge in facilitating hand holding. So we don't have therapists, but we have counselors and all not on board, but we are connected to. So like when as an organization we do awareness, children awareness, so we bring in counselors and
Okay.
adolescent educators to do the relevant aware, because each one of us come from different kind of a background, so we facilitate that, we connect to them.
So if there's a domestic violence going on, or if there's an incest, issues,
Yes,
we can, can we
we can
connect them
approach
to
us.
you guys?
Yes, you can approach us. See, when it comes to the legality part of it,
Yeah.
as human rights, and even I can facilitate that because I come from a legal background. I'm an advocate by myself, and I've worked with child rights issues. But when it comes to say a medical emergency or say special needs extra, then we connect to them.
Okay.
But you can approach us. Yes, we're always open to help.
So I'm just trying to understand. Um, in Minneapolis, we had something called Sexual Violence Center, which is
Mhm.
basically giving support for people who are going through sexual violence or stuff like that. So there's a hotline and all the stuff.
Yes,
Similarly, there's something called Outfront, which is doing similar kind of thing, but for LGBTQ issues,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So for Sexual Violence Center, they had 24-hour helpline. Okay. I used to
Yes.
volunteer for them, and they can call you middle of the night. It could be a police, and you have to go, to the police station and stuff like that. Do
Yes,
whatever
they
takes
they are
you to.
basically the frontliners and the service providers, right? What we say in simple
So,
terms, service providers, right?
so you guys do that too? That.
No, we facilitate. We facilitate.
Okay.
Let me reiterate again. I need because it's very important that concept is clear.
Sure.
What we do, we facilitate. See, if today, suppose I'm just giving an example. Suppose today you have a matter. Okay, you've come
Okay.
across someone who's gone through a domestic violence. So you can call up and you can say Satrupa or my organization, whomsoever is, and you can say, this is an issue. How do we go about it? Whom do we connect to? Then we'll get you connected.
Oh, okay. So, for example, we have few cases over here who had callers and they had some incest situation, and
Right.
specifically young girls, who left home. Now COVID had come, they had to come back from Delhi and all that. Now they
Right.
have grown up, they are grown up, they have boys, but they are at the parents' house, and if the father is the perpetrator, they do
Right.
not know what to do. So we can give your number, meaning, right?
You can connect us to us and then we can facilitate. We don't have homes, like I said again. Please be clear on that we will facilitate. Suppose, like you said, in such an issue, okay, see, when even if a child home, we can get you connected to a child home. Okay, for say when suppose if the child is undergoing through that or abuse and they don't know, like perpetrators inside the home, where do they go, right? In such a
Yeah.
case, you can connect them to a children home, the nearest children home.
Okay. So you are like a connector. When you say facilitator, you are basically you are you
I know
have lots of network.
yes. As of now, we are not running. Our organization is not running homes, and we facilitate. Yes, so that is something. It's I think it's very important because when people think it's an organization and an NGO which is working for child rights, they usually assume that we are having children homes or we are running children homes. No, we don't. But legalities of it, yes, we can look into it, and we can connect you to the nearest CWC. Child welfare committees are, protection officers are there. We can connect you to that. We facilitate, or we, like I said, we connect you. We form that bridge,
Okay.
between
So
that.
and you are mainly focused with child and women.
No, we have a broader, like children, women, and youth also.
Okay.
But we are looking into different capacity, of course, like I said, youth mobilization and creating a platform for youth. And for children, we're looking into child right issues. It could be anything, okay? Child abuse or anything related to child, and also women. And like I was telling Kavita, like we have not yet, but for livelihoods, we've facilitated that also with other organizations. There were a lot of women had approached us that, we want to have life skill training. We don't know how to go about it. So we've connected to them through relevant organizations or NGOs who were conducting through schemes. So they didn't have to pay a dime, but then they got that facility. They had just to fill up their details. So we brought about that facilitation. So those are the things which we do. But in near future prospects, we are looking into, and it's too early to say now, but yeah, we are looking into actually starting or working on livelihood projects. But it's too early. I just don't want to comment on that. But we are working on that.
And we would like to talk to you separately, maybe, because we know that Meghalaya is quite Christian society and not very open for LGBTQ. And I know that many people are closeted and they need support group and they need support.
Yes.
So
yes,
maybe we can talk about that.
Personally, yes, because like I said, I've worked, and yeah, so that is something we can take up separately, and we can obviously talk with them, because that is when we were having this conversation. I said that, yeah, we would look forward, and yeah, that'll be wonderful, because we did have in Shillong Pride Walk, we did, and yeah, like I said, we need to create a lot more awareness and support system for that.
All right, back to you, Kavita.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Milan.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Acha, yeah, so this is basically our information that you have provided us today, and for all those who are with us, who have joined us here. It has been great to have you, Satrupa, with us, and we look forward for more sessions with you again on different topics, because there's a vast, what I gathered that you have been working with so many issues, so that we can come up with another sessions with you, more informative and helping others in the near future. And we hope and pray that very soon you can achieve your goals, whatever you're thinking of, spreading ahead your wings, and then getting helping others in the way with compassion that you have carried on. And thank you so much being with us today.
Thank you so much, Kavita, and the entire team for Anujari. It was a pleasure, and I hope, there were no questions, but I hope I could address some of the issues. And I think it's also very important to understand the work we do. It's not, like I was telling Milan, that we facilitate, we form that bridge. We don't personally handle it, because
you have a support network where people can come to you, and then you can facilitate with them. That is very important. At least people should know where to go in crisis. That is important also. Yeah. So we'll have you on board again next any time when you are free to devote some time for us. Thank you so much from Menajuri. Thank you so much being here.
Thank you so much, Kavita. Thank you, the entire team. I'm really humbled and glad to be a part. Thank you so much.
Bye. See you again. Bye.
Bye. Yeah. Bye. Have a good evening ahead. Bye. Yeah.
Okay.